So for zooming, there's a little percentage at the bottom of an image that tells you how zoomed in you are. Now 100% doesn't always mean this is how it will look when I print it out. It really depends on what your resolution is. Like in this photo, which we're going to get rid of some of the blemishes here on the face just to show you how to use the airbrush tool and things. But this photo is at a resolution of 72. I can go up here to image, resize, image size, and it tells me my resolution is 72, and this is how wide it is in inches, and this is how tall it is in inches. So since it's not 100 for the resolution, if I bring this up to 100%, I'm actually zooming in. Okay, if I have it at 72%, then I'm actually seeing it the size it would print out if I printed this out, you know, as is. And you can see that here, it's 8 and a little bit by, you know, 6 and a little bit down here. And that's what it told me up in here. So, now if you have a resolution of 100 and you set the zoom at 100%, then you're going to see its actual size. If you have a resolution of 200 pixels per square inch and you put it up to 100% the zoom, then you're actually going to see it at double the size. If you have something set at a resolution of like 200 pixels per inch, then if you set the zoom at 50%, you're actually going to see that at its actual size. So it kind of depends on the resolution, you know, if you're seeing it at its full size or not. But anyway, down here we can zoom in, and I might want to do that if I'm going to work with the clone tool, which we'll go over a little bit in the next demo. But I can come in here and you hit the Alt key and you click, and then you come over to where you want to clone, and then you just click again, and see, it gets rid of the spot because it said, okay, I'm going to take whatever is in this circle here, like wherever the target is. When I hold down the Alt key, it turns into a target, and I click. And then if I come over here and click again, it clones those pixels. But see, if I come here and hit Alt, and then come here and click, see, then it gets it from the hair. So that's a little bit how to use the clone tool. You can also use the airbrush tool, and if I use this color picker eyedrop tool, I can pick any color I want, and it'll come here in my palette. I can pick, you know, the white of the background, I can pick the pink on her lips, but I'm going to pick the color real close to where this blemish is so I can get rid of it. And with the airbrush tool, you can set the opacity too. So how thick you want it to paint. At 100%, sometimes it looks a little overwhelming. Like, so you can kind of see the white there, especially if I zoom in. Let's zoom that in so we can see if it looks how we want it to look. See how you can kind of, oops, that's another example we're going to look at. See how you can tell where I fixed that one at? I don't really like that. So we're going to try that again. If I take this opacity down a little bit though, I can kind of, you know, click it once or twice and it doesn't look so bad. And then I could go in fact, I can still kind of see that on the second time. I'm going to lower that a little bit more and try it again. Usually I use the airbrush tool and the clone tool together. And then, but I'm just going to try and do it with the airbrush tool to show you that you can use them separate too. And then if I take my blending tool, that little water droplet is for blurring, I can come down here and blend that in, and ta-da, it kind of fixed it up. And then if I go back here to my eye picker tool, I can try to get rid of this one too. Usually I use the clone, and then sometimes I'll use the airbrush too. Airbrush is kind of good to get rid of shine on a forehead. If I had a picture of that, I could show you. You can also take the opacity down in this clone tool too, I think. So that way you kind of don't lose the texture of the skin, because sometimes it'll look kind of fake. That's why I like the clone tool, because sometimes if you airbrush, everything will start brushing in that one shade. But with the clone tool, it'll copy like the little textures of the face too, so it kind of looks a little more realistic. And ta-da! If we zoom out, back to our original size, now we see we've gotten rid of the blemishes on the face. So that's kind of a nice way to use the zoom tool and the airbrush and clone tool.